Evolution of Hades. Hercules, 1997. Hades is first seen appearing on Mount Olympus during Hercules' christening. After this, upon visiting the Fates, Hades learns that he could succeed at universal conquest by releasing the Titans in 18 years. But if Hercules should fight, Hades will fail. He sends his minions, Pain and Panic, to kidnap baby Hercules and give him a potion that would render him mortal and kill him, but ends up losing the last drop, thus retaining his godlike strength. Pain and Panic, however, tell Hades that Hercules is dead. Later, after discovering that Hercules is still alive, Hades sets up the Hydra as a fixed contest, only for the monster to be buried in a rockslide. Frustrated, Hades sends more monsters, only for Hercules to defeat them all. When he finds out that Hercules has fallen in love with Megara, a slave to him, he uses this to his advantage and makes a deal with Hercules. He must give up his superhuman strength for the next 24 hours in exchange for Meg's freedom. Hades then releases the Titans, who defeat and imprison the gods, and sends the Cyclops to kill Hercules to keep him from getting in the way, but Hercules defeats the monster. However, Megara is seriously injured, saving Hercules from a falling pillar, negating Hades' deal that Meg would not be hurt. Hercules is thus given his powers back and returns to Mount Olympus, where he defeats the Titans and frees the gods. Hades is upset by this, but he taunts Hercules that he at least has a parting gift. Megara died from her injuries. Later, Hercules offers himself to Hades in exchange for Megara's freedom. He swims into the river Styx to retrieve her soul. It almost kills him, but his godhood is restored by his being willing to risk his own life to save the woman he loves. Much to Hades' shock and anger, Hercules emerges from the pit with Megara's soul in his arms. Knowing that he can't stop Hercules in his path, Hades begs the hero to try and ease things with him and the other gods, but Hercules angrily punches Hades into the river Styx, where he is swarmed by vengeful souls and dragged to the depths. Hercules, the series, 1998. The animated series shows that Hades often faces off against a teenage Hercules. Hades tries many schemes to destroy Hercules and take over Olympus, plans including exposing the other gods to water from the river Lethe, thus making them all forget their original roles and leaving him free to take over, diverting the river Styx into Greece, or killing Zeus when he temporarily made himself mortal to prove a point to Hercules. Despite all these transgressions, he is never expelled from godhood, frequently being summoned to Mount Olympus for job-related matters afterward. Hades is shown to have a very poor working relationship with those in his service, primarily the witch Hecate, who frequently attempts to usurp control of the underworld out from under him. Despite Hades' attempts to frequently abandon the underworld for Mount Olympus, he seems protective of the job when it is threatened to be taken away from him. Mickey's Magical Christmas, snowed in at the House of Mouse, 2001. Hades was seen in this movie, alongside Jafar and Captain Hook during the finale song. Mickey's House of Villains, 2002. Hades appears as one of the main villains, though he does not take part in the initial scheming at the beginning of the movie. House of Mouse, 2002. In the episode Halloween with Hades, Hades had a crush on Maleficent. His first attempt to woo Maleficent fails, so he goes to Mickey Mouse for advice. Mickey tells Hades to try to be nice, but this fails too since Maleficent loathes him being nice. Hades attempts to take his anger out on Mickey until Maleficent discovers how cruel he is towards Mickey and decides to date him. Another notable appearance by Hades in the episode Suddenly Hades, where Pete causes the house's thermostat to go broke and break, causing all the guests to leave due to the heat, except for Hades, who enjoys the heat. Mickey and friends then try their best to keep Hades in the house. Since Mickey's contract states that the house stays open as long as the show goes on, he would be obliged to close the house down if there were no guests whatsoever. One way in which Mickey tried to keep Hades included an act from Chernobog, a sort of fast-forward version of Night on Bald Mountain. Hades loved it. Hades eventually left when Pete flooded the house. Villains Tonight, 2010. Hades stars in the musical stage show, featuring many different villains from various Disney movies. His story here is that Hades has softened a bit, and made the underworld a fun place. Unfortunately, the fates tell him that he has time until midnight to get more evil, or he will no longer rule the underworld. So he summons the most evil villains in his quest to become more evil. Once Upon a Time, 2016. Hades makes his debut in the 12th episode of the 5th season, Souls of the Departed, played by Greg Gurman. Hades is the ruler of the Underworld, a purgatory-like place where the souls of those with unfinished business on Earth go after their death. His lair resides in the caves beneath the Underworld Library, accessible by taking an elevator. Years before the first dark curse was cast, Hades appears to Liam Jones, brother of Captain Hook, and persuades him to let the ship they are on to sink so that Hades can get new souls for the Underworld. He offers Liam the coveted Eye of the Storm Stone, as well as the safety of Liam and his brother if he agrees. Liam takes his offer, causing all the crew to die in the shipwreck. Liam and Hook survive, becoming members of the Royal Navy. Descendants, Wicked World, 2016. In the episode Pair of Sneakers, Hades appears as a statue in a shop on the Isle of the Lost. Descendants 3, 2019. Hades appears in the movie, portrayed by Cheyenne Jackson. Hades is among the villains imprisoned on the Isle of the Lost by King Beast, despite his godhood. He is revealed to be Mal's father. Hades briefly lent his ember to Mal in order to undo a spell done by a jealous Audrey. He was later brought over from the Isle of the Lost to revive Audrey, in the act insinuating that the punishment of Beast is unjust, and that he has a prejudice about the villains. By the end of the movie, Hades approves of Mal's marriage to Ben, as interaction between Auradon and the Isle of the Lost is allowed. Robot Chicken, 2021. Hades appears in the episode May Cause Numb Butthole in the segment Hades' Hair, where he wants a new haircut. Chibi Tiny Tales, 2021. Hades appears in the Descendants 3, but as the Chibi form. Descendants, The Royal Wedding, 2021. Hades appears, where he is invited to his daughter's wedding. He is not treated well by the guests. When Dude the dog tries to catch Maleficent, he tries to help but Dude misunderstands it and bites him. Hades accidentally caused a fire in the wedding, which he tried to put out. He later pours water on Chad Charming because he was the worst. After seeing the damages he caused, he leaves in a huff. Hades later told Mal what had happened, and allowed his daughter to be married in his home for her to be happy. The Simpsons in Plusaversary, 2021. Hades appears as the cameo character in Moe's Tavern. The Simpsons, Welcome to the Club, 2022. Hades appears along with other Disney villains, and tries to convince Lisa Simpson how fun it is to be a villain. Once Upon a Studio, 2023. Hades can be seen with Cruella de Vil, Sleeping Beauty, The Huntsman, and so many more.